What are you doing as far as seniors?
Their team is mostly freshmen.
Him and that other guard, I think, are both good.
That'll change, Mark, with the portal crap.
Oh, yeah.
It all depends on how much money they
Well,
come
I
up
would
with.
say at least two of those freshmen will
But see,
go
if you're
pro.
a rookie and you don't make an NBA team, you got to go to the B team.
Right.
That's only $250,000 a year.
Right.
They're already getting millions now.
If they'd have said 35, if they'd have said 40,000, we wouldn't have flinched. Sold.
Here, look at these
Wouldn't have
small
flinched.
evaluations.
20 years without a raise?
Archie Mann,
Wouldn't have
6.5 million, that's for 1 year. Cooper Fred, 4.8 million, that's for 1 year.
Hold on. Let's negotiate.
That isn't
And that never happened. There was no negotiation.
And I didn't know we were about a new GMC. I didn't know we were
guys.
going in there and negotiating.
Regular meeting of Washington, Missouri City Council, Monday, April 7th, 2025, 7 p.m. Bear?
Here.
Briggs?
Here.
Coulter?
Here.
Hendricks?
Here.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Packey?
Here.
Reed?
Here.
Wessels?
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will all the council members answer if they have or have not read the minutes of the council meeting dated March 17th, 2025? Bear?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
Hendricks?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Packey?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Wessels?
Aye.
Motion to approve, please.
Make a motion. Second.
Motion by Hydrich, second by Coulter to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Approval and adjustment of agenda, including consent agenda. You have the collector's treasurer's report summary for December 2024, investment report summary, December 2024, change order number 2, 2024 sanitary sewer extension project, final payment requests for the Jefferson and Main Street sidewalk project, and the final payment requests for RTU rubber roof above the council chambers.
Any questions?
approve. Second.
Motion by Packey, second by Hydrich. Further discussion on the consent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Priority items, mayor's presentations, appointments and reappointments, proclamation, National Public Safety Telecommuters Week.
I've forgotten your first name. It's Jared. Doug, nice to meet you. Please come out of the sun. Yes. Okay. Mayor's Proclamation, City of Washington, Missouri, the National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, April 13th through 19th, 2025. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas an emergency occurs, or when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Washington Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services and are the single link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities via radar, providing them with information and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators in the city of Washington have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in this past year. Now, therefore, I, James D. Hagedorn, Mayor of City of Washington, Missouri, do hereby proclaim April 13th through 19th, 2025 as Telecommunicators Week in the city, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe.
Folks, we don't need to see any further proof than to walk out the door and look across the street. I know we didn't get the outcome we wanted, but we had a team on there in 6 minutes. And that's pretty incredible.
We got first here.
City physician reappointment.
Dear council members, I herewith submit for your approval the following for reappointment to, as the city physician, Thomas B. Reekers, MD, FACS, term ending April 26.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Patke, second by Coulter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Industrial development reappointments.
Okay, 2 of them. I herewith submit for your approval the following for appointment to the Industrial Development Authority. Daniel Tobin, term ending May 2025, filing vacancy of Chris Eckelkamp. Chris moved out of town. And Dustin Jasper, term ending May 2031.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Holtmeyer, second by Heidrich. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Welcome.
Thank you all. We finally have a full board. We've had difficult times moving in and out of the city, unfortunate passings of members, and, but we got a full board. So now we need more business, right?
There you go.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, Pete.
Planning and zoning reappointments.
Your council members, I herewith submit for your approval the following for reappointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. John Borgman, term ending April 2029, and Mike Wood, term ending April 2029.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Briggs, second by Coulter. I don't think any of you guys are here. Nope, they're not. Nope.
Nope.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Police department reappointment.
Your council members, I herewith submit for your approval the following for reappointment to the Police Department. Melinda Schmelz, date effective April 8, 2025, date expires April 8, 2026. Police officer.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Heidrich, second by Briggs. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
She is reappointed. Thank you.
Treasurer collector, deputy treasurer assessor reappointments.
Dear council members, I herewith submit for your approval the following names for reappointment. Tammy Alsop, treasurer collector, term ending April 2026, and Darren Lamb, deputy treasurer assessor, term ending April 2026.
About that deputy. Yeah, I know.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Wessel, second by Briggs to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's approved.
Citizens' comments.
Anyone would like to come up and make a comment that is not in the agenda, on the agenda? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and your address.
Yes, my name is Connie Faith, and my address is 1073 Beaker Road in Washington here. I have some concerns I wanted to voice regarding the senior center move, and I know that's kind of old news, but it's still current news. All I can say is I have several people here in the audience, and they have concerns. They have concerns. I think the initial anger is kind of calm, but now they want questions. They want answers to some of their questions. And I have a few myself. So here we go. At the time of the vote, was council aware that the Knights were submitting a bid? That's a simple yes or no. Was anybody aware that they were going to be also submitting a bid with the Elks at night?
Are you asking when the council voted on the lease?
Yeah.
Were they aware that, yes, because we had received, that's how we were able to put the lease together for the council to vote on.
Okay, and was Elks aware of that also?
Mm-hmm.
They were.
Yes.
They were here.
Well, they were here that night, but were they aware prior to that the Elks were, that the Knights were going to be submitting a bid also? That's my question. It's good to have competition between places. I don't doubt that at all. But with the Elks history, if you guys had a previous year's a problem or concern with their costs or their what they were shooting out as numbers for you guys, why didn't you question it prior to? And then, why was it awarded to the Knights when they didn't have a facility that was up to grade? And then my next question is, if it, since it was awarded, why didn't something get extended at that time for like a 6-month period or a year period to allow the KC to get up to ADA and face some of those problems? Because right now they're in limbo. And I don't believe that things are going to be resolved at the Knights by May 1st. They're not going to be able to handle all of that.
I think I can answer some of your questions. Wayne gave a update to the council in the workshop, which was the previous meeting that we had, with a little bit of a schedule. Can you share that? Can you come up to the podium and share that?
Yes, good evening again. So earlier, as I explained in the previous meeting last week, Darren asked me to give you all an update on the things that are going on at the senior center, the current one and the future one. So the scheduled move date, and we've been working hand in hand with Aging Ahead, which is the company that, or organization that runs the senior center for the city. Darren and I just had a meeting with them on, with the
Thursday.
Yeah, head person on Thursday. And so a lot of these things have been going on behind the scenes. As I stated earlier, the schedule move date is the week of May 5th, that first week in May. There'll be stopping services at the Elks location on May 1st. Just because they're moving on May 5th doesn't mean that they'll be up and running on May 5th at Knights of Columbus. They'll take some time to set up things. That's all in the hands of Aging Ahead and how they want to operate things and get things going at their pace. There was a question on lighting last week. Myself and Darren were over there and looked at it. Aging Ahead was also over there on Thursday, looked at it. They deemed it acceptable after all the bulbs were replaced, so that's good. As far as moving, as I stated earlier, the city will move the tables, chairs, steamers, ice machine, picnic tables, benches, things like that. Aging Ahead will move their own equipment. Aging Ahead asked us, even though the Knights of Columbus have their own tables and chairs, if we could use our tables and chairs, and I was fine with it. The city was fine with it because we'd have to store them somewhere, and the Knights were fine with it too. So we'll be using the city's tables and chairs. As I stated, Aging Ahead will be moving their own items. I'm sure the city will have more items to move than just what I stated, but those are the bigger items. Most of the city's equipment is in that kitchen, which a lot of it probably will be staying there. We'll have to figure out that at a different time. The entryway into the Knights of Columbus, the lower level, there was a step up to the sidewalk, about a 4-inch step up. That all has been eliminated. There's a nice, smooth, level, ADA compliant transition into the vestibule, which has been renovated. They made that wider and has ADA handicap accessible doors with the buttons. When we were over there on Thursday, we saw the restroom renovations. They stripped all the restrooms down. They were just empty boxes with the walls painted. They put new lights in there, getting ready to reinstall all the toilets and stalls and partitions. They said, as in the company that's managing the construction for the Knights of Columbus. The renovation will be complete by Monday, April 14th, and the asphalt sealing and striping will be completed, weather depending, on the week of April 28th. And as I mentioned earlier, the Elks, if we have some equipment in the current senior center that we're not using, the Elks would be interested in possibly purchasing that. So we'll work through that as we get closer. So.
Does that answer your question?
Some of them. It's good to hear that they are getting some progress, more than I had anticipated. Today, I'm going to give you a typical example. Today was what they considered a low day. So there was approximately, I would estimate, at least 75 people coming and going for morning and afternoon sessions or lunch. And I know they fed probably about 60 plus. How are they supposed to get, I heard the answer before, there's not enough parking, there's 30 spots available on that lower lot. How are they supposed to get from that upper lot down to the area itself? Because there's a hillside or there's steps. How is someone in a wheelchair, walker, cane, neuropathy, eye issues to get down there?
I think to answer the question, if the Knights of Columbus are willing to go ahead and work with the patrons that come to the senior center, they will save those parking spaces if need be for those types, are those with those individual needs.
Most people that go there have those needs.
Okay?
Okay? Tomorrow is a busy day. There will be in excess of probably over 100 people in and out of there.
Do they all drive individually there?
Oh,
Do you know?
no.
Okay.
Oh, no, but there will be, even if you do half that, there's 50. And then that doesn't count the meals that they prepare elsewhere for other people. So my concern is, I joked and I said, oh, wow, that would be funny if they had a shuttle. And by the time with someone with that many issues to be mobile, to get out of their vehicle, into a different vehicle, to be shuttled to the lower part, then to get out again. We all have parents. We all have gone through, and we know it's an ordeal for someone to get in and out of a vehicle, and a shuttle is not reasonable. I just don't see how this passed. I just cannot fathom how this passed, because there is no parking available for our seniors. They have put in their time and they're living in this community. Their families are in this community. And this is what we do? I don't think it's appropriate. I don't. And then my other concern is I was hearing that they're starting to limit meals to people just within city limits. So is that just the wards?
I think they go beyond the city limits. They just don't go back out into the other communities like Union, New
Well,
Haven,
exactly.
and some of those areas.
But the wishy-washy, we're going to call it that, the areas between Union and Washington, I think they generally kind of go to those areas, but I was told, no, they don't do that anymore. No more Croco, no more, and I'm like, good God, if they're going to just go by the wards, that alleviates everybody south of 100 on the west side. That alleviates most of Pottery Road, most of Highway A, Beaker Road, on down. And I'm like, they all pay city.
Have you asked
looked at the map.
Aging Ahead, the lady that operates Aging Ahead, the lady that we meet, MJ? Have you talked to her?
No, I've not talked to MJ. I
think she
actually
could
talked to them.
answer some of those questions for you a little bit even better than what we can. We don't run the senior center. That's why Wayne said, Aging Ahead, we contract with them to do that. They looked at the facility, they looked at the parking lot. We asked, can this work, for our senior center? And they said yes. And that's why, Wayne gave you the report.
Wow.
They made those changes.
I'm surprised, and especially as everybody here is in town, you know of the situation and you knew of the parking lot situation. I'm surprised that our own people did not recognize this for our seniors. And that includes our parents, and soon many of us within 20, 30 years will be facing the same issues. do we want to be put in that place like they are right now? That's my question.
And that's a good question. An answer that I can give you is that what the city is looking at, if you were aware, there's a park master plan that's being proposed. Within that plan, as well as talking about it within the capital improvement sales tax, they're looking at possibly building a new facility for the seniors.
Yes.
And they even came up with two options of where they could possibly do that. One would be in addition to the city auditorium out there, new facility and adjacent to it or in addition to it. There has been some talk the other night was a brand new facility, possibly even within the fairgrounds, that could be used. So those are the two options. So to answer your question, our goal is to go ahead after the 5-year lease to go ahead and have a brand new center for a senior center.
Well, I'm glad, but I have concerns about the city auditorium, not just there, but also parking. Please
Right.
keep that in mind, because right now, with that being adjacent to the pool, there will not be any parking for our seniors, because those pool people will overcome.
Have you had a chance to see that plan?
No, I have not.
Okay. We can show that to you and share that with you or whatever if you're interested.
Yes.
But those are those two options are the two that we're looking at. And there was going to be a parking associated with that would be just there for the senior center at that location. But we're going to look and weigh out which site is the best.
Okay. I have some letters, of course, from all of our people that have, or at least some of them, and then you'll be continuously getting them. Nancy, do you have anything to say? No, not at this time. Okay. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here, I'll take.
What is she saying?
Yes, they're in order, and they are.
They don't want to consider those because they're on the whole.
And the marks are also highlighted. So you got them for each council member? No, I do not. These are just for the council members that voted to move. Okay? I learned this also this summer. And let me see more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sherry.
Hold on, you have something? Yeah, I do have a question.
Can you come up to the podium, please?
What you got?
I just have a question. Have any of you
Maureen.
been to the senior center?
Can you state your name and
Oh, I'm
your
sorry.
address? I'm sorry.
Maureen King, 55 Oxford Drive, Washington. And I'm very disappointed both of my councilmen voted to move to the Knights of Columbus Hall. Before this decision was made, did any of you tour the facilities and see the difference in the sizes, the square footage? I mean, it's quite a bit smaller than what we have now. The Elks Lodge is very nice. It's been nice for 20-something years, and a lot of people enjoy it. A lot of our line dancing group are here. And we were just there today, and we were informed by Connie that you were going to have this meeting. And we feel strongly, and I think a lot of people in our community do feel strongly to keep it in the Elks building. And bottom line, what was the reason for the change?
I don't vote, but I will go ahead and answer as a collective whole. I think it had to do with how much the Elks wanted for their update of the new lease.
Were any negotiations made with them to possibly?
They provided us with two offers. The Elks did, their initial offer, and then they came back with a reduced offer. But both offers were not as good as what fiscally, as far as that goes, with what the Knights of Columbus offer.
So fiscally, it's the reason for the change.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
And was the Aging Ahead, was that entity involved before you made this decision to go to the Knights of Columbus?
Yes.
Did they look it over
Yes.
first? And they did
Absolutely.
approve it?
Absolutely. We wanted to
Approved it.
make sure that they could tour the kitchen, they could look at the space, and
The
look at
way it is now?
Correct.
And they approved it?
Yes,
They did?
yes,
Did they take into consideration the change in the size?
yes,
They did?
yes.
And where are these people from, Aging Ahead?
They're the ones that run ours as well as several other facilities. I think they run in Union, Wentzville, Pacific, all of the ones that are within the St. Louis area.
And did they also see the facility we are currently in?
Absolutely.
And see the difference in sizes, and they said, okay, go right ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think that's really, if you guys are here to represent the community, and I'm really sad the way this was handled. I think, does the public have any input into these decisions? Does the community have any input, or is it just the council?
We had, like I said, it's up to the council eventually to enter into a lease. I mean, they're the public entity that has to go ahead and do that. But as far as looking at what the facilities were, what we had, those were the two comparable ones that we could use. I don't know that there was probably any other facility in town, square footage wise, that would be willing to go ahead and take the seniors like the Knights of Columbus were. So.
All right, well, a lot of us are very disappointed that, and you've probably heard from other people, the disappointment in moving. The seniors that go there appreciate it. It's a happy, nice environment. And it's sad, very sad, that it was voted to move. And the Aging Ahead people, I don't know how much they're familiar with our community, but we have a great community here. And I think we want to keep it that way. And that's a downsize. That's a downsize, and it's a very, instead of an improvement, it's going down. We're going backwards.
It's a slap in the face.
It is.
A big slap in the face. Sorry, folks, but
Yeah,
it is.
and a lot of our seniors are so disappointed, and I've seen it in the newspaper too, that it's really sad that this group here is the one that decided. We saw the vote was 5-4. Mayor made the final decision.
I did.
It was close, and those of you who voted to keep it in Elks, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Those of you who didn't vote to keep it there, my councilman, I'm so sad, Ward 2. And I'm not doing this, we're not doing this for ourselves. We're doing this for the seniors, the future seniors, the people in our community. It's a step backwards. And I think we want to go forward rather than backwards. We're proud of Washington, we're proud of our community, and this is not a good move. I'll leave it there.
Mrs.
Thank you.
King, Mrs. King, right here. And I'm sorry that you're upset with your councilman.
I'm not upset, I'm disappointed.
Okay, well, disappointed.
Disappointed.
We'll use that. But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you if, let me put it to you this way. If you and Larry were renting your house and from an individual, and you were paying $1,000 a month to rent that house, because I know where you guys live, there in Oxford, and then all of a sudden the landlord says, you know what, just not enough, $2,000 now. Wouldn't that tell you when your rent doubles that they don't want you there anymore?
I don't,
Would it or not? I'm just, no, Connie, let her answer. I'm just asking, maybe because I've always been on the good with you and Larry, and I'm sorry that you're disappointed, but
I'm
I just
very
got to ask you, would you or would you not think somebody doesn't want you there when they double, when it goes from $30,000 to $60,000?
I don't know necessarily if they don't want me there. I do know that I would negotiate a lower price.
Which we did.
You did. And did you get anywhere with that?
Not as much as we were able to get, along with the other offer that came in. And, and I've visited both. I've been in both places. And what part of it comes about too, when the experts that we look to, the folks who run the senior center.
Aging
for us,
Ahead.
Yeah.
It wasn't the people who run our center, it's Aging Ahead. That's the big,
Well, that's what we were told.
organization.
Those people
Yeah.
come in and they tell us this place is fine, it's good, and so I'm not sure what other options we had. I didn't feel we had any other option. One's saying it's going to cost you this much, one says this much, and the people that we look to for advice say, hey, the one that's asking less money is going to be fine. It's a good place. It's fine.
Based on their opinion, outsiders who walked in and don't really know our
That's what they
community.
do, though. That's
They
what they do.
do. They said, oh, it's acceptable, but the other one is much nicer, you know. And do we want to go backwards? That's my question. And you know, you're talking about the rent. The rent did go up, double. Is that right? But how long had it been at that rate? I heard over 20 years.
You had a 20-year lease that every 5 years, the city could go ahead. The Elks had the ability, and it was somewhere between 5 to 7%, they could increase it every 5 years,
And they didn't.
and they did.
But we also did maintenance up there
Right.
as well.
We paid-
That
we
we don't
paid
have to do it to
utilities.
KC Hall.
We paid utilities. That was a big factor as well, because last year, the city paid $18,000 a year in utilities up at the Elks. That was also part of the original deal with the Elks, whereas the Knights of Columbus is picking up those utilities.
Okay, I'm gonna look at it like this. The KC is getting their building up to ADA standards. They're getting all this through a grant, okay? After these, so it would be beneficial. That's the reason they got the grant, was because they put seniors in it. They've been fighting for upgrades for years, and then they put in a grant that finally has seniors in it, and they get their grant.
Where did they get a grant?
They got a federal grant, I was told, to make their,
I would make sure of that information before you say that.
no, I'm pretty sure.
I'm a voting KC member. I would make sure that that is correct information before you say they got a grant. Because the voting members had to.
Well, then where's the money coming from to become ADA compliant?
They're using the lease with the city, that the city's gonna pay them over the next 5 years to make those improvements. That's how the KC's is, they need to renovate those bathrooms and the vestibule and the sidewalk. So they're using this, they're gonna break even over the next 5 years to make
So-
improvements to their building with this lease.
The
That's their
city
plan.
is giving them the money to upgrade.
The city is
city's
leasing the
leasing
property.
the
Right.
We're paying them rent,
You're paying them rent for this.
Just like we paid the Elks.
just the way we
Exactly.
paid Elks.
Exactly. So then, my other thing is, if city's paying the rent for this, isn't it beneficial to have KC say, we can put in a lower amount for our number, our bid, because you guys are upgrading their building? They can go cheap that first year. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're stealing the Elks. We're stealing this out from the Elks. We can get the seniors in, we can get the city to pay and upgrade our building to its better. And so we can put in they can put in a lower bid, which is what they did. But you
Pardon
didn't
me, ma'am, I don't-
negotiate.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I don't understand that's their prerogative. The Hummingbird could come in and say, we want to do it for $20,000 a year, and we would consider that if the square footage was adequate, and Aging Ahead would say, okay. That's how I looked at it.
Wow,
If
so
it
if
was
I had a
anybody.
big backyard and I put in a bid, you guys would probably say
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
with all due respect, if there's another facility in this town, yes. I mean, that's how it is. And to Councilman Hydrich's point, we weren't given an option from the Elks. It was just double the rent. I've said this from day one. If the Elks would have came and said, we need to increase by 5%, we wouldn't even be here having this conversation.
Done deal.
No doubt about it. When you double your rent, you didn't tell me that the 20 years we've been getting was a bad deal. You just said, we want you out. And that's how Paul came here and said it. He was here for 2 or 3 meetings ahead of time. So for them to know that it was happening, they knew well in advance for 2 months. This is, what I don't understand is that it's the council's fault for voting. In my book, it was the Elks' fault saying, we want to be community stewards, but we want to double your rent because we got you. And that's how I took it.
But it's okay for the last 2-3 years that the city of Washington, all the rates for rent and mortgages have gone up dramatically. But it's not okay for that to go up?
What do you mean?
Not that much.
Oh my gosh, you haven't rented an apartment. Because I was faced with that exact same thing. When I had an apartment, they were doing the same thing. We're gonna have to double the rent. And I negotiated and I worked it out with them. And they were okay with that. It can happen, folks. I know it can happen, I've done it. But for some of these places down here, if that's the price Washington has to pay, You're not going to get you're going to get those elite people, but you're going to get broke elite people because they're spending all their time and their money working their asses off to pay their mortgage and their rents. They're not going to have time to spend their money in doing things and promoting the local small businesses.
Do you
I just
think,
think
excuse
it's
me,
sad.
do you think we set the rent for people that are landlords? Do you think we do that up here?
No, but I think
No, we don't. So that's, Connie, that's all, you're not comparing apples to apples here. Again, like Councilman Packey said,
Aren't they a
30 to
business?
60 plus maintenance on the Elks, plus maintenance. So there was other expenses we were getting hit with as well, plus utilities. I mean, we also need to be a steward of the taxpayers also. Right. There's, you need to do that also up here. You can't just say, oh, well, they wanted 100 grand. Yeah, no problem.
I didn't
We
say
can't
that.
do that.
I didn't
They
say
said
that.
60 though, that's double the rent. So that is telling us, we want you guys out. We're done. We want to rent this to bigger, better things.
How common is that to sign a 20-year contract at a limit?
What?
Didn't they sign 20, how long was their contract? Elks contract, 20 years. And they had limitations. So no matter when things went crazy high, they were limited. This Casey is doing a 5-year limit.
Right, but you're still not, and I know you're upset. Everybody's upset, so you're not going to see
No,
this
I
side of,
completely
this
see.
side of the desk, but you're not seeing how they hit us for double. They hit us for double. Like Jeff said, if they would have came for 10%, no problem. No problem. Double. Are you gonna go to a restaurant that charged you $50 for a steak and you're gonna go there tomorrow and pay for 100? I doubt it. You're gonna try to negotiate probably. But I'm gonna tell you what, they're not gonna negotiate because they're gonna say, no, it's $100.
No, the doors will get closed.
Well, there you go. Maybe the Elks doors will get closed. I doubt it, but
I doubt
you know, they'll rent to somebody else.
Okay, I know you guys want to wrap this up, but did they offer an option of maybe going year by year till things were a little bit more clear and seeing what could be done rather than
There was really no need for us to discuss any more than, or any less than 5 years, because that's, like I said, long-term, moving forward and making it better. We want to have a better, newer facility for our seniors. That is the
Yeah, that
goal.
we own, we're not
That
paying.
is the goal, that we own. We don't have to go ahead and lease from somebody else. That's the goal.
Well, why didn't you guys just wait another 5 years with the Elks and
Yeah.
then do your building?
Well,
instead of putting all the
because-
money in that and then putting your money in another.
Because you're looking at a lot of
Question.
money that you're going to be saving.
But how much you gonna put into KC's to make it ADA available? I mean, you could hold on to Elks.
We're not putting anything to, they are doing that. Just like Councilman Packey said, they are spending that money. We're not paying for their upgrades. They're just using the money that we're gonna lease this to pay for those upgrades.
They're taking a loan out right now to fix their bathrooms and vestibule. They're taking a loan out right now to do that with the guarantee to pay it over in 5 years when the city's lease. The city's not paying for the bathroom renovations at the KC's, if that's how you're assuming this. That's not the case.
And as I asked before, were you given an option of smaller leases, like a year, 2 years?
No.
No, you weren't. So the Elks didn't work with you at all?
No, I'm not saying we didn't have a reason to discuss anything less than 5 years, because we knew at minimum we were going to need 5 years
Yeah.
before we could get something brand new or, bigger and better for the seniors.
So a shorter lease was not an option?
It wouldn't be beneficial.
It'd be something you'd have to do every year then. You'd have
We're
to
month
go
to
through
month
this
right
every
now,
year.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe a
Yeah,
5-year
till we
until
get
you got the other building built,
That's correct. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I know you want to wrap it up, and I'm sorry, that we took so much of your time, but
Sorry for that.
We're here all night long.
our hope is that you'll reconsider this decision and look once again at the facts here. And if it's set in stone, so be it. But if it's not, we have the hope that those of you that are here, and you're our councilman, we trust you, you represent us. And if you went and took a survey now of the community I imagine, especially the seniors, you would get, stay where we are, vote for that. So anyway, thank
Ladies,
you.
Can I just say that we cannot reconsider at this time. We've already taken a vote and we're already moving forward with that. So the option to reconsider is not a possibility. What I would cordially ask you to come back in 1 year from now and say, our experience at the KC's has been absolutely terrible. We cannot do this any longer. Or please be honest and say, it really wasn't that bad. Just let us know and give us that feedback. Give it a chance. We're not putting you in a basement where you can't get into. That was never my intention, as I voted to do that. But as we said, stewards of the taxpayers' money to do the best we can. And given the way they locked our hands from the Elks, it was the decision we had to make, that I had to make. I can't speak for everyone. So I'm just trying to say, we can't take another vote tonight and take that vote away. We already signed a lease, we have already agreed, and we're moving forward with that. I ask that you just give it a chance and come back in 6 months from now and say, you know what? It's terrible. We can't even have line dancing, or we can't have bingo here because it doesn't work. And let us know that. So when we do the next step, we have feedback, okay? I did go there and talk to a few gentlemen one day. There are able-bodied people that can walk down the steps and get in. If they would cordially allow those people who have walkers to park in the handicap parking spots, I think the parking lot would contain those that need to be contained. Some of them walk all the way from the bottom of the hill at the Elks now to walk up the hill to get there. Again, just give it a chance and let us know feedback after that. If you come back here in 6 months and say, you guys were wrong, then I'll take it. But just give it a chance, go there, try to enjoy it, okay? And then be part of the plan, as city administrator said, in 5 years, when we want to make a new facility for the senior center that we own as a city, and we're not paying rent every single month, that we can have and make it better and make it right, be part of that planning, be part of that decision for us.
Yeah, get involved. Be in the, asked to be on that board or the committee to put your ideas and thoughts into this next future that we're going to build. That would help you guys, help us all out,
Yeah, and I just hope the seniors that are attending now will still be able to attend and enjoy their time there and continue, since it's not, you cannot reconsider. Like you said, Jeff will probably try to make the best of it and see what happens, but thank you.
Maureen, you and I have known each other a long time.
Yes.
Okay. And the rest of the councilmen, we see folks in the back I've known a long time also, and all of us up here have. We would not do this lightly. Every one of us knew when this happened that there was going to be an adverse reaction, okay? Our long-term goal, and I don't know whether it's going to be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, we want to get you in a nice facility that the city owns, that you can call your own. And quite frankly, the $60,000 to $80,000 that we spend will get us closer to that goal. And it was said, I think you said it, Mark, we are stewards of the taxpayers' money, first and foremost. And sometimes it's a tough decision. This was one of those tough ones. For the inconvenience that it will cause, I apologize, folks. But if I had to vote again, I'd vote the same way. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Would there be anyone else in the audience who would like to come up and talk? Okay. Next, Jerry, please.
Report of department heads, Stormwater Management Fund, 5117 Old Highway 100.
Good evening, council. This is a request from the owner, Mike Marcourt, of 5117 Old Highway 100. This is the property right at the corner of Old Highway 100 in Kingsland. It's a vacant lot now. They're proposing to do a warehouse and parking lot there, so they're requesting a cash payment in lieu of construction of on-site stormwater detention basin. That amount, for an estimate of what it would cost to build a detention basin there, is $3,150. Based on the location, how close it is to the Missouri River, I recommend that we go with this and allow them to pay the cash payment.
Charles, where exactly is that when you say that?
Kingsland and Old Highway 100 is right across from the treatment plant. So we had a request from ELS right up Fifth Street there to do the same thing for a cash payment.
Is that across from Johnny Claycamp's place?
Next door.
It's right
Next door.
Next
Yep,
door.
next door.
to Johnny's.
Okay, I got you.
Yep, it's
All right.
right there on the corner, that
Thank you.
lot. Questions?
Need a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Patke, second by Coulter.
Fair, yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Not gonna say. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
That's all right.
Ordinances and resolutions, an ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a managed service agreement by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and NOC LLC doing business as NOC Technology.
Fair.
Introduced by Bear.
As was Sherry reported in the previous workshop or whatever, we did go out for proposals, reviewed 5 firms, interviewed and discussed it with 3, and have concluded that NOC would be our best fit for another 5-year contract.
3 years.
3 years, I'm sorry, thank you. Had 5 years from the senior center on my brain.
Should have done 3.
Further discussion, you guys, about proposal. Second read.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a managed service agreement by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and NOC LLC doing business as NOC Technology. Wessels?
Aye.
Reed?
No.
Patke?
Yes.
Hydrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Fair?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7A passes. B, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a temporary site license agreement by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and New Singular Wireless, PCS LLC.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
This is just the site license agreement that we have with AT&T to go ahead and put the tower up during the fair. Saving you a walk up here, Justin.
Further discussion? Second reading, Sherry, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a temporary site license agreement by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and New Singular Wireless, PCS LLC. Wessels?
Aye.
Reed?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Hydrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Fair?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7B passes. C, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the acceptance of a proposal by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and Cochrane for inspection and testing services for the Fox Crest Extension Project.
Patke.
Introduced by Patke.
This is the contract we talked about at the last meeting for material testing for both phases of Fox Crest, the roadway, and the box culvert project.
Further discussion? Second reading.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the acceptance of a proposal by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and Cochrane for inspection and testing services for the Fox Crest Extension Project. Wessels?
Aye.
Reed?
Yes.
Patke?
Yes.
Hydrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Fair?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
Ordinance 7C passes. D, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of temporary construction easement agreements by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and Patricia Mena and Milo Hines, STK Investments LLC, Frank and Mary Dolan, Edward Hilke Jr. and Bernice Hilke, Pablo Los and Amy Payne, Timothy Eversole and Barbara Eversole, Joshua Robert Thiessen and Ashley Thiessen, Robert Bacon and Sharon Bacon, Jerome F. and Donna M. Kensel Trust, Earl Gleason and Ruth Ann Gleason, Marissa Gergerich, Jason Reynolds and Melissa Reynolds, Jason Pellin and Kimberly Pellin, Matthew Hutchings, Robert and Mary Campschrader Trust, George M. Cowan, Marion Wunderlich, Patrick Hill, Ann Hoffman Rebeck, and Robert and Donna Samoys.
Coulter.
Introduced by Coulter.
So this is for our High Street STP grant project, which is High Street from Fifth Street to Front Street. These are most of the temporary construction easements that we need for that project, just to be able to work behind the sidewalk in certain areas where the right-of-way is kind of tight. And we have 2 more after this that we're still working on getting.
Did you say fifth to front? I thought this just was fifth to third when I looked at the maps.
No, fifth to front is the total project.
Okay.
Some of the a lot of these are towards the Fifth Street, between
Okay.
Fifth and Third, but.
Charles, are we
project is
narrowing that any more than what it is already?
We are not. Fifth Street High Street, sorry, is just remove, replace, right where it's at.
Okay, we're not gonna make it any narrower
We're-
anyplace
we're
else
not.
like we are Jefferson and we did Third,
Correct. Those ones we narrowed. Here, we are not. Nope.
okay?
How many more easements do you have after this?
2 more we still gotta get for this project.
So,
Working on
Are
those.
you having problems?
Just sometimes getting, people's schedules, they work nights or whatever, it's just
Okay.
hard to get a hold of people, so that's,
Pretty much everybody's on board on a new sidewalk and new street.
yeah, I think most people are pretty much
it's
on board
easier in
with
Ward
this one.
4.
Everything's. Further discussion.
He says it's easier in Ward 4.
Questions?
Second reading.
Second reading, Jerry. Yes, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of a temporary construction easement agreements by and between the city of Washington, Missouri, and Patricia Menow and Milo Hines, STK Investments LLC, Frank and Mary Dolan, Edward Hilke Jr. and Bernice Hilke, Pablo Los and Amy Payne, Timothy Eversole and Barbara Eversole, Joshua Robert Thiessen and Ashley Thiessen, Robert Bacon and Sharon Bacon, Jerome F. and Donna M. Kensel Trust, Earl Gleason and Ruth Ann Gleason, Marissa Gergerich, Jason Reynolds and Melissa Reynolds, Jason Pellin and Kimberly Pellin, Matthew Hutchings, Robert and Mary Campschrader Trust, George M. Cowan, Mary Ann Wunderlich, Patrick Hill, Ann Hoffman Rebeck, and Robert and Donna Samoys. Wessels,
Aye.
Reed,
Yes.
Packey,
Yes.
Heidrich,
Aye.
Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Bear,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Coulter.
Yep.
By your vote, ordinance 7D passes. E, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the acceptance of a proposal by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and Horn Architects for the old pool house renovations.
Coulter.
Introduced by Coulter.
Yes, this is the design contract with Horn Architects for 47.5 to convert the old pool bathhouse into the park administration offices.
Questions or discussions? Second reading.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the acceptance of a proposal by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and Horn Architects for the old pool house renovations. Wessels,
Aye.
Reed,
Yes.
Packey,
Yes.
Heidrich,
Aye.
Holtmeyer,
Aye.
Bear,
Yes.
Briggs,
Yes.
Coulter.
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7E passes. F, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of an owner-contractor agreement by and between the city of Washington, Missouri and Franklin County Construction for the addition and renovation of the Riverfront Park restroom.
Bear.
Introduced by Bear.
Yes, this is the renovation and addition of the Riverfront Park restroom. We'll be adding the 2 ADA restrooms that'll be open year-round and renovating the current restroom, which I think I forgot to tell you earlier in the prior meeting. That restroom was built in very early 80s, like 1981 or 2, somewhere into there, and really hasn't had any updates, I don't think, since that time.
Questions or discussions? Second read, please.
An ordinance authorizing and directing the execution of an owner-contractor agreement by and between the City of Washington, Missouri and Franklin County Construction for the addition of renovation of the Riverfront Park restroom. Wessels?
Aye.
Reed?
Yes.
Packey?
Yes.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Bear?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7F passes.
An ordinance amending section 265.110 of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri.
Introduced by Holtmeyer.
Yes, so this was amending the section of the code that contains the park user fees. Mainly, if you look at the red line document, most of the fees were deposit fees, were lowered, and then we did add a few new fees that were passed, recommended by Park Board for disc golf, pickleball, and some, the Riverfront Pavilion down there by the new playground, and a motorsports fee were some of the additions.
Questions, discussion? Second read,
An
please.
ordinance amending section 265.110 of the Code of the City of Washington, Missouri. Wessels?
Aye.
Reed?
Yes.
Packey?
Yes.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Bear?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7G passes. Last one, please.
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for Stonecrest Plat 21 in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri.
It's you, Ward 2.
Go ahead. There you go.
Introduced by Wessels.
Want me to cover it, Charles?
Oh, I'm supposed to cover this. That's my bad. I apologize.
Sorry, Charles.
I told Sarah I'd cover for her. I didn't tell her. So, Lot A is basically combining those two lots, which you see that's down there at the, on the cul-de-sac of Windcrest. By combining those, you'll create a new 17,000 square foot lot.
You did get the easements vacated through there from all the utilities.
Yes, there are property and, or utility easements that would go on either side of the previous lots.
So what would be easements in the middle of the lot, you can vacate those because it's gonna be one house in the middle of them?
Yeah, we had to get with the utility companies,
Yeah,
make sure
okay.
they were good with that.
Make sure that there wasn't anything that
I'll
needed
say
to be
there's nothing in there
redone.
now?
No.
That's surprising that they're not.
Well, there's no homes there right
Yeah,
now.
until they have a house there, they wouldn't probably put service or anything.
Have sewer there. Okay, all good.
Sorry. Looking at the next thing.
Questions, discussions?
I know the feeling.
Okay, second reading.
An ordinance approving a boundary adjustment for Stonecrest Plat 21 in the City of Washington, Franklin County, Missouri. Wessels?
Aye.
Reed?
Yes.
Packey?
Yes.
Heidrich?
Aye.
Holtmeyer?
Aye.
Bear?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coulter?
Yes.
By your vote, ordinance 7H passes.
Mayor's report?
Guys, the last couple weeks, a little more than a couple weeks ago when we had the tornado and the bad weather. Again, combine that with the rain event we had this last week. Goodness gracious, our dispatchers have been going crazy. Our firemen have received a bunch of calls, and I know our police officers too. And I've got to believe that because we have not heard much, we were lucky, yes, but our citizens, I think they've got to be really, really happy with the job that our men and women have done that work for the city and those tip of the spear type jobs, getting us through events like this. And quite frankly, guys, you know, we've got some great employees. We just do. And they see the way that we conduct our business here. We try not to micromanage. We give them the ball. They're talented people, and we get the heck out of the way. And I think they respond to that. And so, thanks to each and every one of you for doing that.
We didn't get to talk about the riverfront.
I'm just gonna, you haven't gotten my report yet, buddy. Whoa, no, it's, oh.
Hold me back.
City Administrator's report.
City administrator, okay, my turn. Anyway, two things. We do have the master plan. Wayne and I, for those of you that attended the joint workshop with the park board and council, we are going to be going through that long list of line items that were spelled out in that thing. Wayne and I are going to go through those, try to identify which ones we think should be eligible with the potential of capital improvement sales tax renewal, as well as look at how the consultant put it. I think they put it in short term, which would be that capital improvement to midterm, and then long term. So we're going to look at those, and maybe some of the items that they have in there, we just think, maybe that's probably not something that we want to include. But we're going to go ahead, at least staff go through those first. He's got a meeting with his park board on Wednesday, and then we'll go ahead and do that. Riverfront. So tomorrow morning, Craig's Tree Service is going to be out there removing the tree that sloughed off or started to slough off with the bank that was over there. If some of you got down there and took a look at that, it needs some attention, and we thought more immediate than anything. Wayne's crew went down there today, looked at it again, and see, they don't feel comfortable doing it in there because of just how that tree may, when you start cutting on that thing, how that thing may fall. Exactly. So Craig's Tree Service agreed to go ahead. We've used them in the past for tree removal, for hazardous tree removal or whatever. And so they moved it to the top of their list, but they wanted to secure a crane. They got one secured today. They'll be there first thing, I think, based on the email I saw this afternoon. They'll be out there first thing at 8 o'clock. Long term, I think what we need to do is look and see what is the goal. Obviously, there was some rock that was placed down there by the boat club. Wayne and I, Chad and Josh walked the whole length of that today, looked at it. We saw what the attempt was to try to go ahead and get some of that rock. I think it was, and at least, and discussing it with Charles as well, I don't know that the size rock that they used was probably the best maybe for it. Maybe some of it was, but it was free, so there you go. So that's.
They have the same thing.
Well, and maybe what you have, but I think what we have to do is figure out what's our goal, what we're trying to accomplish. We've got, obviously, the trail down there. You've got a roadway down there to go ahead and get access to parking spots. But again, it's what's our goal? What are we going to go ahead? Right now.
Preserve what you got.
Okay, and I understand that. I agree. We're not off center on that. I think you might want to preserve some other things down there, which I don't, as far as I'm concerned, I don't, there's quite a bit of a mess down there at a couple of those places. It's kind of unsightly.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I'm just, you either got a bank or you don't have a bank. We can
Right.
wash all the way out to the railroad tracks if you want.
Well, and I don't think we want to do that because we got facilities
I
there.
think we do either.
So I've asked Charles to figure out how much it would be, what we could do to go ahead and try to come up with some cost estimate to go ahead and do something in the short term.
Well, and from what I understand, I've been through all this rigmarole with the Corps of Engineers and waiting on permits and stuff like that. The way I understand it, we don't need to have a Corps permit in an emergency situation, and we have one. We have an emergency situation down there. You're fixing to lose trees, boat dock owners are losing their anchors, okay? Boat club's getting ready to lose one right now, again. I should have dumped more rock, okay? But it was unsightly when I let that rock sit there too long and everybody was on me about doing it. You gotta leave it alone. It can only be moved by Kurt. We cannot do this ourselves. Had many volunteers wanting to do what they wanted to do. Shut them all down. So we hurry up and we wait. And now we're gonna hurry up again and wait. We need to dump some rock soon. You had opportunity to get free rock. The only thing you had to do was pay for it with our buddy Kurt, okay? Yeah, I'm sorry they're not all the same size.
Well,
but
I'm
it
just
was
saying,
free.
that was what I was told was part of the problem.
I would agree, but it was free and it's done. But more needs to be done. We took care of that, and it was like parting the Red Sea to get that done. And and we're gonna fall back again, and we're gonna wait again until more trees fall down and more guys lose their anchors down there. You say it's your property, you know, you say it's the city's property. Take care of it.
I've never been told that it's anything less than our property.
Well, that was years ago. Al Fisher,
Is it-
whenever he donated the courtesy docks, he was paying taxes on that ground that came from Stumpy. He donated it to the city. Okay,
Is it-
I'm just
I don't-
saying.
Is it our property? I've been told
It
that
is,
before.
it
Okay,
is.
all
I'm not
right.
arguing that.
Okay, okay.
But take care of it. And we have an emergency situation down there right now. And we're gonna stick around and wait for what? More permits? We have an emergency situation. And I think it needs to be addressed
So
soon.
besides the tree, what is the next pressing emergency?
Well, the other
that's down
tree
there?
right next to it just got hit by lightning. That's another tree. It's not gonna grow back. It's not gonna get better. There's another tree
But at least that one's leaning out towards the river.
It is leaning towards the river, so we'll lose more bank when that falls.
Well, if it does fall, you're right. I don't disagree.
So we're just gonna wait for the tree to fall in the river. It makes no sense to me at all, you know, and there's a whole lot of angry people down there. Now, I know we are the few, but it is ours, it is the city's. We should maintain this, we should do something immediately.
What is your proposal for something? Is
Dump
shot
some
rock
rock.
the answer? You can't dump minus rock in there. You
I
can't
didn't
dump
say minus.
Clear, what kind of rock did you get donated?
Kurt from his development out there, we got big shot rock that he didn't wanna have to crush. The faster he gets rid of it, better it was. We didn't pay anything for it. We worked out a deal.
Gotcha. Okay. I
Okay.
wasn't aware of what
Yeah.
size or what we were talking about.
Well,
It's
yeah.
a mix of stuff.
Yeah, that's
Like
what
you
it-
said, it was
shot
free,
rock.
so.
It needs to be big rock.
Yeah.
No matter what, we gotta put a base in, you know? We didn't have the option of being able to size the rock. You can go to the quarry and pay for it and get what you want. You can do that. I'm just saying that it's silly to just let it go to hell, and that's what we're doing right now. And we have been doing it.
Right.
I've been crying about this for 2 years. I seen the bank up at the Curicos go away. I see the stuff at the boat club go away, and now down the river, it's coming again. It's not gonna fix itself. It's not gonna get any better. Do we own it or not? Do we take care of it or not? Or are we just gonna wait? We don't need permission from the Corps on an emergency.
Question is, how much do we want to spend?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know how much we wanna spend, but you gotta do something.
What has to be done to bypass the Corps? You're saying, who has to proclaim that this is an emergency of such nature that
I've
we
got
bypass the Corps?
Yeah, well, we've got pictures on our phones, all of us got it, you know, I've been watching it close.
No, but I mean, surely there's gotta be some sort of a process for say, you know, coming up with that emergency.
Take a picture, show it to the Corps. I don't think you even need to do that, but I don't know. I don't read the rules. I just know something needs to be done.
Well, to Mark's point, what's an emergency? If I send 10 trucks there tomorrow with shot rock, we start dumping it over the edge, and they say, hold on, what are you doing here? This wasn't an emergency. To Mark's point, is what is an emergency? And then you have to strategically lay them big blocks in the bottom, otherwise they're gonna go away, just like it did this time too. It can't
But-
just be dumped, it has to be done correctly. So, again, I don't disagree that something needs to be done, but we can't just jump and start dumping rock off there tomorrow and say we took care of our problem. We gotta look at it and do it right.
Okay,
That's my opinion.
do it right then.
Charles,
I'm saying that
we're
that's all
looking at-
rock.
we're-
That bottom of that river is all rock. You can walk across it. I mean, you just gotta look at it all winter long. It's all rock. Yes, that mud is gonna infiltrate and wash out in between the rocks, just like it did for us at the boat club. It's gonna find its own, it's gonna seek its own level, okay? It's gravity. It goes down. Water goes downhill, and so do the trees and so do the dirt. If you just start, excuse me, if you just start dumping something in there right now, I mean, I don't think you need to get an excavator down there and do all that. You can, that'd be great. Bring down a track hole and place it a little prettier than what I did. I didn't get done what I really wanted it to look like, okay? I was very limited on my resources there whenever Kurt told me, he promised me the moon, and I didn't get the moon. And, but you know what? I hand it to the man that he did help us out. We need to do something. I don't know what either. I'm
Well,
just telling you,
I've
we need to do something, and we're gonna lose more, and we're gonna lose a lot more.
I've asked Charles to go ahead and get us an estimate get a scope of what we want to go ahead, what portions we need, and get a cost estimate on what it would take to go ahead and do that.
And also, if he could, you know, I think it wouldn't hurt to contact the Corps anyway, and just to say, what do you need, Corps, for us to consider this an emergency that we can just take care of without going through all of your,
Permitting.
yeah,
6 months to wait.
yes.
Yeah, I can reach out to the Corps. I mean, I did it last time when it started sloughing off. They didn't deem that an emergency situation before. This is probably a little worse than the last time we had it. We have miles of riverbank that we own on city property, and we have it sloughing away in different locations. You're going to say this is in, closer proximity to the parking lot, so that's where we have more of a concern. But yeah, they're going to see it as just bank along the Missouri River. So an emergency to them might not be the same as an emergency to us.
Oh, they got their head up their ass if they don't think that it's an emergency.
I hear you.
Okay, well,
I can reach out to
state
them
it that
and-
way.
and-
We have an emergency. We have one. Let's go.
And to Jeff's point, I mean,
Be
we gotta do
forceful,
this right,
Charles.
or
Be
we're just making the
forceful.
situation worse and adding more weight to the bank, and rock that aren't gonna hold. You gotta have the right type of rock in there. It's gotta be all large rock, not with the small rock that's just gonna wash away.
Well, I don't think you're gonna scrape the bottom of the river and start from scratch and come all the way up. I mean, the Corps, when they dump rock in the river, they don't clean the bed of the river before they dump rock. They just start dumping rock.
They have a lot.
Until they build a lot,
It's not
until
an
they build it
object,
up from the
so.
bottom and comes up. Does it wash out from underneath? Yes, it does. And it will here too. It will happen. And it will slough off a little bit more. What do? You put more on top of it.
Yeah, but okay, so the Corps has a bigger checkbook than we have, because they're replacing the dike right now. They got trucks running nonstop from Femi Osage to the dike.
I know.
For the last 3 weeks. And that's what it's gonna take here to do that. And we can't open up a checkbook and do that.
Well, can we just do something?
That was my point. What is something? 10 truckloads tomorrow? No. It's between that and what the Corps is gonna do in a year from now. I get that, Dwayne. But I think we gotta know, what are we gonna do? And you gotta place big rock. You can't just start dumping.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Look at the core rock that they dump in the middle of the river. Do you think it's sized perfectly?
There's a difference between perfectly and,
Put the big rock down, put little rock over top of it, but still, they gotta be 8-inch rocks, something that's not gonna, wash away
2 to
instantly.
3 feet
Right.
rock.
huh?
2 to 3 feet rock.
Yeah.
Shot rock, you're
Not
gonna get
8
big
inches,
pieces.
you know.
Right.
Find a quarry that will size you that. That doesn't work that way.
No, correct. When you buy shot rock, you buy whatever day comes off the
Bingo.
hillside. That's right. So there's not, you're not gonna place anything like that.
It was free a couple weeks ago, or a month ago.
Yeah, I was unaware of that. I have no idea that was even the option.
Well, Doug knows it. Charles, you knew it,
You guys, we can take a haphazard approach to this, which your well-intentions, Dwayne, and thank God for Kurt, that's great. But in my mind, if we want to do right by our riverfront, which is our freaking gem in this city, we need a comprehensive plan for bank stabilization.
so we're gonna wait.
Yeah, you can.
Well, whatever, you guys, but there needs to be some plan in place for a long-term solution.
Okay. Let me know if it starts with rock.
It will start with rock.
Okay.
It will, but it's gotta go through, can you, okay, bottom line, can you convince 4 guys here that we wanna spend hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s?
I don't know where you get that number from. I mean, if you'd have done it like I asked years ago, we had the rock for free. All you had to do was pay for the hauling and placing it. Our rock could have been placed a little better. I agree. I was expecting a large excavator to do what it did, and he came down with a mini. Okay,
Why
hard to
didn't you
work
get
with
more
that.
rock at the time?
Excuse
Did he
me?
have more rock, or, you said it was all free.
No,
Could we get more at that time, or was that all
Would
he
I
could get
would
you?
I have taken more? I would have taken a lot more if I could have got it.
Okay.
In the time frame, yeah. But, you know, when I made that mess down there, I was starting to feel bad because it took so long to get it placed. You know, if nothing else, put a couple rock piles around that edge right now to keep somebody from falling in the damn thing. The barricades are pretty to look at, but they're not doing any good. I don't know, guys. I don't have the solution, but I know what we're gonna do. Nothing. Take it from there. I don't know. You know how I feel.
We'll get a cost estimate so that the council can go ahead and look at some options of what you can do. Get you a better figure as to what it's gonna cost to go ahead and do that. Right now, that tree is the number one.
100% I agree. 100%.
That has to be taken care of. I did look, you do have, things that are holding up those dock owners. Those things are probably gonna go next if something's
I
not
know.
done.
I know.
Well, I'm afraid, I don't know is that the emergency, or is it the trees that are stabilizing the bank and the city's infrastructure?
That too.
Okay.
Yeah. You
That,
got-
I think, I would disagree with you. I don't think that is as dire.
You don't think what?
I don't think that is as dire. I don't think that if we wait and do it the way we should do it, I think we're not gonna jeopardize the trail. We're not gonna jeopardize that road that's next to the trail. I don't think those are in jeopardy yet. Will they? Yes, I agree.
Yes, they will.
Well, I know, but I don't think it's next week.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't,
Well, I disagree.
I mean,
I agree.
If this river were to get up again, like it does sometimes, all that fresh, exposed dirt down there
Yeah.
is gone. It's gonna do it again. The tree that's hit by lightning, it's got roots exposed. It has no option but fall in the river, and that's gonna happen. You're gonna lose more bank, okay? If I would take that tree down, leave the roots alone, leave it alone. And I know, Wayne has got plans to plant some trees down there.
Right.
And I've seen the layout of that. I suggest more cypress trees that do well in that type of soil, but whatever y'all wanna do, you know, I'm crying, nobody's listening. That's how I feel.
I'm listening. We're trying
I
to,
think we want to come up with a plan. We just don't want to start with dumping rock tomorrow. I mean, come up with
Okay.
some plan and then get going.
I'm thinking when you come up with the plan, the first thing you're gonna have to do is dump some rock. I don't know where you go from there. It's not like you're gonna clean a spot off and get a level spot and go again. There's no sense in that. Dump the rock. Dump some rock, hold what you got. And then if you wanna come up with a pretty plan to make it all look the same, I'm all over that. Save what you got now. Dump enough rock right now to hold what you got. Because it ain't gonna be there if we get a big flood. And it'd be too late. So we'll wait.
Council comments?
That was one.
With the construction of Jefferson Street, obviously going to the south, is there any plans on going to the north on Jefferson Street, here to the riverfront?
there's no, that's outside of the scope of the grant.
Okay, there's nothing there. I've got more and more people telling, it's rougher in sections. There's so many, that it's bad, rough sections.
Concrete portion
Yes.
going from A to.
And is that something but we're
I mean,
going
it's-
that way, we're not
it's a-
going this way?
It's, I mean, you could apply for that. It certainly qualifies to go ahead. As a matter of fact, that's how we got when we did the streetscape improvements, which was back in 2008.
Right.
So if we do that section of street, can we get rid of the bump
Yeah,
outs?
can we take the bump outs out and do a better job?
You could if you wanted to at that time when you redesigned it, you could.
Yeah, don't let the same guy do it that did on High Street there, on that roller coaster. You know, if that guy can't stretch a line any better than that. And I know he's gotta meet ADA on all those things. It can be done without giving you a roller coaster ride.
Well, they did it on Third Street, right?
They
It's the
did a
same-
great
same-
job on Third Street,
same
but I
people
watched
there
him like a
on Side
hawk.
Street.
Yeah, it was the supervision out there, right?
It was the
I
supervision.
had to call Charles
You
more
did?
than once, yes.
I would, one comment real quick. I think Jeff made a good point with our seniors who were upset about the change of placement. He's asking them, you know, give it a chance, give it a chance. the whole time we were talking, I kept having flashbacks when the chamber moved the farmer's market from out at City Park on that parking lot
Right.
to our present farmer's market. The farmers were in an uproar about us moving them off of that parking lot down there. They were so upset, they were gonna quit, they weren't gonna do anything with us anymore ever again. We asked them, hang in there, give it a shot, just like we were saying today. And they, obviously, they fell in love with this new market. So I'm hopeful, and I like the idea of, you know, if they're upset, come on back and talk to us again, so.
Yeah, you did good with that, Jeff.
Yeah, I didn't do so well. You did a lot better than me.
You're not people friendly.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. No.
You were fine, you were fine.
I talked to Jake Dobbs the other day. He's kind of the ramrod for the KFC renovation. He is just ecstatic that we are doing this, and he has promised us that he and the Knights are gonna bend over
We need a
backwards
comprehensive plan
to help
They
us.
will.
Right.
And I know they will.
on dumping rock.
I probably should have said that to the ladies, too.
Well, and I think that a lot of the compliment, or a lot of the questions that were asked was answered by Darren when he said aging ahead. It's not our decision. We didn't go there and have to walk the facility to ask if it was gonna take it or not. Aging ahead does that, and I think the surprise.
That's who you pay as.
Right,
yeah.
and I think I seen the surprise in her eyes when we said aging ahead does do that. Well, that's a big company. No, they're here. They're at the Elks every single day, and they agreed to this. You know, yes, there was some unanswered questions that night, and a few, you know, the vote was close as far as that goes, but it still comes down to the fact where, you know, I felt taken by the Elks, and we made a decision, and you know, I didn't speak out of turn when I said, we've already made that vote. We've already entered into the lease. And I also think there's just some misconceptions there that we're paying the KCs to renovate. And that's not the case, you know.
Grants, they're getting grants.
Right, and again, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that there's none. I don't know. I'm not aware of any, but I was there when it, you know, when they decided they were gonna do this, and there was not as a grant, they were just, they're using this 5-year opportunity to upgrade their bathrooms in their basement, is what it amounts to. Well, at the end of 5 years, they're not gonna have a pot of money left over that the city paid them. But, and that's, I think the misconception is from them, is that the city's paying them to do their renovations. They're just taking a loan, paying it back with our lease, so.
In the spirit of not wanting to drag the discussion on further than what it was, I asked Wayne's office or somebody within his department through the month of March, take a look at how many people are parking in the parking lot.
Right.
Up at the Elks.
tried to
Every
look.
single day for the thing. So I've got dates for you. So March 10th, Monday, March 10th, 33 cars. Tuesday and Wednesday, they didn't get a count. Thursday, they had up to 50 cars. That week on Friday, they had 52. The week of March 17th through the 21st, Monday, they had 22 cars. Tuesday, they had 41. Wednesday, they had 18. Thursday, they had 33. Friday, they had 30. Week of March 24th, Monday, 33 cars. Tuesday, 30. Wednesday, 15. Thursday, 25. Friday, they didn't get a count. But those are just some random numbers throughout the month of March.
Those counts are like throughout the day or all at once?
They were all like, I think we deemed like lunchtime as probably the busiest time of day. So like between, it was when Robin was going home for lunch. So like between 11:30 and 1 o'clock-ish.
Gotcha.
It varied, but mostly during that time, yeah. The only other thing I would want to say is just remember the night you all voted, there were many people up here that spoke that night, and not everything that was coming out of everyone's mouths that night was accurate, similar to kind of what we experienced tonight. So just keep that in mind. If you recall, Aging Ahead kind of sent you all an email verifying facts and things that night too, so.
Thank you.
So many parking spaces that are up there at Casey?
33 in that close lot. I just pulled it up and was counting them. There's 33 right up to the building, and then you gotta go down that little slope, and there's more than that on the lower level. But there's 33 right up next to the building.
And for what it's worth, that down the slope is considered a high school parking lot. High school maintains that, KC maintains the top, but I'm not gonna sit here, I didn't ask for permission, but I'm gonna tell you that the high school is gonna be fine if they park there.
Yeah.
They share that for every
event,
football game, whether someone's running the lower level or not, the overflow of the parking coincides there at all times. So I just think that, you know, again, sorry, Darren, not to add on, but something that we talked about more is that the high school students that are that close, and I've talked to Jake Dopsch about this and the principal,
They're gonna have-
Colin, they're going to have their, you know, child development class, their, you know, religion class, whatever. Those high school students to go there and interact, I still hope is going to be a plus, a positive, and they're going to appreciate that also, being that close to that facility too. So I think it definitely has its advantages, and that's where my comment where give it 6 months, give it a year, and try to
Those
accept
kids
it.
come over
try to,
and interact with those people, you know, they're gonna enjoy that.
I think so too, Dwayne, and to Mark's point, you move something, there's gonna be heartache, there's no doubt, but give it a shot, see what we
They don't
got,
like kids.
go from there.
If they don't like kids. So I got just two quick things. And so I wanted to apologize to the council. I wanted to apologize to everybody that was sitting out there. I wanted to apologize to the voters that they're all disappointed. Sorry that I raised my voice just a little bit, but I think we all heard enough on that. So, and then number two is, Charles, and you don't have to get up, but like in Stonecrest where we're patching with asphalt, is there anything we can do? Can we get a flowable epoxy or a flowable, you know, something to start filling those? And actually, when you fill with that, you're gonna longevity of that street anyway. You know, they have that flowable grout epoxy.
I've been in conversations with Tony. My brother John has a product that they use on things like that, so I'm trying to get the specifics. A polymer-based additive to Quikrete type thing, where we could cut down an inch or two, cut a block out, pave it in, it would look gray like the concrete. So,
Well, even some of that, you won't even have to cut down. That flowable, it'll blend in with the chunk that's out.
Right.
It'll blend it. I mean, because you saw it, there's mounds of asphalt
I know, I
on
got
top
it.
of
I got it on my
concrete. It's
street.
like,
right.
you know, and I don't blame them for complaining about it. So
Yeah.
if we can move forward, I know we don't have a ton of concrete, streets, but, you know,
We got 14 miles of them.
well, I'm getting more.
That's something you guys wanna do an experiment on to where, on any kind of cold joint on asphalt like that, you know, when they run a lift through there and then you come back next winter, it's gonna separate. Third Street will do the same thing eventually as well. And if you fill that gap right away with something that's not gonna leave, I mean, drive down any interstate, every pothole starts on a cold joint, you know? And if you had something like polymer, like you're talking about, that gets in there and it's self-leveling, you just run a squeegee across it, you're done.
Yeah, that's what.
You don't need a roller, you
Well,
don't
when
need
it's
all
actually,
this other stuff.
when it cures, it's actually harder than the concrete.
Yeah.
That's what.
That's what so it ends up being good. But yeah, I've talked to Tony about it. I know he shared with Charles, so we're trying to find the right product, let those guys be able to do it. We don't have to hire it out where our city guys
Right.
can do it. But it's,
Yeah, it's not that tough. Just having the right product.
Your money ahead.
I've seen stupid pipe fitters do it before, so I know.
I've never seen
Oh, yeah.
pipe fitter do
They always
anything.
do labor's work, I
Do
think.
anything.
motion to adjourn?
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Say nay.
Thank you.
I think Reed said nay. I don't know if you got that one or not.
Houston's winning.
You bet. You should have did the old you bet.
Cardinals aren't.
Don't
You're gonna
leave, I
miss
gotta give you
Cardinals.
something.
You better
I
kiss
will
them.
miss.
Cardinals are bad, Blues are
Sit right
tied.
here next to Sully.
Oh, what's this?
Remind me.
Did you watch Housley breakdown yesterday? That first game?
Because everything that you were saying about the Rocks, the Blues are one. I want to
Did you see
fucking,
that guy
I'm
who broke
just sitting there
Gretzky's
fucking
record?
fired up because I'm like,
Yeah.